We're continuing our Advent sermon series called Gift Exchange. And last week, you may remember that we talked about exchanging our worry for God's peace. And we used the story of the Annunciation, where Mary in Luke's Gospel receives this announcement from the angel Gabriel that she will conceive and give birth to the Messiah, who is the Son of God. This week, we're going to be talking about exchanging our doubt for God's hope. And we're going to be looking at the story of Zechariah in the temple. This comes at the very beginning of Luke's gospel. It starts at Luke 1, verse 5. And in it, we have this kind of insight into the work of the priests in the time of the Second Temple. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what Zechariah is doing here, and it kind of informs the way the angel Gabriel speaks to him. So uh, just a really quick recap, there are kind of two main classes that served within the temple and the temple precincts. You had the Levites and you had the priests. Now they're separate and distinct. The priests had special capacity within the temple grounds. They would be part of the sacrificial offerings. They would be part of trimming the menorah. They would be part of lighting the altar of incense. So they had a unique role, and they could enter into places within the temple and the precincts that Levites were not allowed to go into. So Zechariah is a priest, and we get a little bit of backstory to him and his wife Elizabeth, who also comes from a priestly lineage. And it says that Zechariah is within the holy place, and he is there at the altar of incense. And so, to give you just a quick layout of the temple grounds, you've got on the outermost courtyard is the courtyard of the Gentiles, and then within that you had the courtyard of the women. Within that you had the court, or the courtyard for Israel, where the men of Israel could gather, and then you had a specific courtyard where the priests would carry out the sacrifices, and then you would enter into the temple itself, into the holy place, and that's where we find Zechariah. So he's in the holy place before the altar of incense, and behind him, or I guess in front of him, would be the veil which separated the holiest of holies from the holy place. And that's where the dwelling place of God is understood within the temple construct. And so Zechariah is in there, and it says he is offering and burning incense to the Lord. This is from all the way back in Exodus. You have the instruction for the preparation of this incense, and then it would be this good, pleasing aroma, which symbolized the prayers and the faith of Israel rising up to Yahweh as this pleasing aroma, as a way for Israel to know that Yahweh heard and answered their prayers. And so Zechariah is there. He's prostrate because he has lit the altar with some of the coals from one of the earlier sacrifices. He's used that to light the incense, and he is offering his prayers as a kind of mediation between Yahweh and his people. It's this really profound and beautiful act, and you can imagine that behind him, and we get it later on in the story, in the court of Israel, the men of Israel are offering prayer at this time, while Zechariah himself is in the holy place offering prayer. And we see within that story, it's while Zechariah is offering prayer that he looks up and he sees the angel Gabriel at the right of the altar, and this kind of informs Gabriel's answer. It says that the angel Gabriel says to him, "Do not be afraid, Zechariah, for your prayer has been heard," meaning not just your prayer, but the prayer of all Israel. That as Zechariah is praying, God is bringing this messenger, Gabriel, to deliver this announcement that, number one, Zechariah's wife will conceive and give birth to a son named John the Baptist, who will be this great prophetic voice for Israel that will turn the hearts of Israel back to their God. But more importantly, that he will be this prophetic messenger, this forerunner to the Messiah, Jesus, which we talked about last week with Mary, and that God has finally heard the prayers of his people, and he is bringing their salvation, and this is the beginning of that triumphant salvation story. So I hope this gives you some insight, just a little bit of insight into the context of where Zechariah was, what he was doing, why he was there, and it kind of gives you clarity about why the angel responds to him the way he does. So I hope this was a blessing to you. I hope you will continue to study Luke's gospel as we make our way into the Advent season, as we prepare ourselves for the celebration of Christmas. And I hope to see you this Sunday at Concordia. God bless you.